Well, I'm glad you were all in because people need to know this story, and a lot of people aren't going to watch a documentary, and they're not going to read about it. This is a very entertaining show that shows accurately how this went down, and there's a moment, and I don't want to give too much away, but there's this one moment where this ethical doctor confronts this sales girl, and that's a very, very, very powerful moment.
Yeah.
Because the ethical doctor who knows everything about opiates is essentially explaining to this very young girl, who's just a beautiful sales girl, that you're selling heroin. This is heroin. It's indistinguishable to the body. It's heroin. It's just you're calling it a different thing. And this idea that it's only 1% of the people have problems with it those numbers are all lies. They're always lies. They lie about how many people died. They lie about how many people get addicted. It's all a lie. And if they can keep lying and not face any repercussions, they'll keep lying because they almost have an obligation to their shareholders to do that.
Yeah, and in this case, they didn't even have shareholders. It was a private company. Richard Sackler and his uncles were making all the money. They completely lied. I mean, they were doctors, and they knew how powerful the opioid dosage was. They knew they would. And what else is crazy is they knew that if they just kept, they would make so much more money by what they call titrating up. Right, so we put you on 10 milligrams of OxyContin because you blew out your back in the gym, and it works for a bit, and then when it doesn't, we're like, oh well, we gotta kick you up.
Yeah.
So let's put you on 20, and then let's put you on 40, and they got up to 85 milligram OxyContins. They called them oxycoffins. That was in the word on the street, and these reps, these cute little reps, these pretty little college graduates who were just looking to make some money, were paid bonuses based on the amount of milligrams in the pill. So I'm trying to convince you, if I'm a rep and you're a doctor, just to kick it up, doc. Prescribe 20 or 40 or 85 milligrams, and everybody will make some more money. And that was the game that the Sacklers were playing. And I've said, I'm down with capitalism, no problem. Make money, do it. And if you just look at the Sacklers, from a capitalistic perspective, and you apply, rules of capitalism, and you're on their grade, they get an A+. They were fucking good at making money. You put that much morality into the equation, and these are some evil human beings.
It's unquestionably evil. And what's even more evil is they got away with it. They paid off. They had to give away a certain amount of money. I think it's $6 billion. See if you can find the settlement.
A little bit around 6.
And now they can't be prosecuted. So they essentially bought their way out of going to jail for directly being responsible for the deaths of how many people?
Right.
Hundreds of thousands?
So the most bizarre coincidence I've ever experienced in my years of being in the business, the day Painkiller came out, the Supreme Court paused that decision. Have you heard this?
No.
It's a fascinating story. You should read about this. The day we came out was about 12 days ago now. The Supreme Court said, hold up. You cannot cut a deal.
Wow.
Yeah, there it is.
Supreme Court blocks Purdue Pharma's $6 billion Sackler opioid settlement. The justices will examine if bankruptcy court can force claimants to sign away their legal rights in a settlement.
So let me break it down quick, because this is actually fascinating for anyone who's paying attention. The deal that they cut, Purdue cut, was $6 billion. We're going to pay $6 billion to all the victims of OxyContin, but we're going to do that over the next 2 decades. We're going to parcel it out. And the Sacklers have maybe $15 billion in the bank, give or take. So they're just counting on interest rates to pay that $6 billion. And the deal they had cut said, we'll pay you the 6, but you can never, there's no more. And you can never come after any more of our money, and you can never come after us for any criminal charges. So they were basically buying their way to safety for $6 billion. And that deal was taken. The Supreme Court just said, hold up. not so fast. We're not going to accept that deal. You may have to pay more, and we may go after you. So now the potential for them to face true bankruptcy and maybe more is on the table.
How accurate do we know, like some of the, I know this is a docudrama, right? Mm-hmm. Is that how you would describe it?
Sure.
Or based on real life events.
Yes.
But some of the things that Sackler said, in both the older Sackler and the younger Sackler, Richard and what was his dad's name?
Arthur.
Arthur.
His uncle.
Yeah, his uncle, sorry. Both of those, the statements, they're so horrific. Do we know they definitely said that?
Right. Well, so yes, there's so many horrific things they said. One of the things we know that they did said, which was like one of the original strategies that Purdue Pharma had, that they were advised to adopt by their lawyers and their advisors and their marketing guys, when they realized that people were dying, that kids were crushing up OxyContin and snorting it and getting addicted and overdosing, when they realized it was being misused this way, their strategy was, quote, hammer the abusers. Hammer the abusers. So you're Joe, your 19-year-old daughter has just dropped dead of an OxyContin overdose. The response of Purdue basically is, well, your daughter was a drug addict.
Oh, God.
Your daughter was a drug addict. I'm so sorry for your loss, but your daughter was a drug addict. Don't blame us. Hammer the abusers.
And that was literally said out loud or written down? Like
that was the strategy, and to blame abuse on addicts, and to say anyone who has a problem with OxyContin, it's not our fault. They're just drug addicts.